pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have no special recognitions or presentations tonight. Delegations, we have one delegation, Steve McElroy from Bridgeport.
Happy New Year. May we all improve. Okay, I apologize for the repetition, but I think it's that important. Poor student achievement and discipline problems are not the fault of the teachers. They're not the fault of the parents. They're the fault of the education system when adult political issues are discussed in classrooms like climate change, which cause stress, anxiety, fear, and depression in adults who have much better coping mechanisms and subject knowledge. It makes emotional wrecks out of our children, with acting out at home and in school, sometimes violently. It also takes time away from real education and student achievement. This must be stopped immediately for the sake of our children, their future, and our nation's future. We need genuine education, not indoctrination. Methodologies have been implemented that make it unavoidable to not discuss political issues. Methodologies such as social emotional learning, culturally relevant teaching, comprehensive sexuality education, student-led project-based learning, as well as the content of texts, films, and handouts that most, if not all, curriculum provide. Political issues are eventually discussed because of these methods and the content. To truly understand what has been and is now going on in our education system over the past 3 to 5 decades, Dr. James Lindsay's book, The Marxification of Education, is a must-read. Just read the last 2 chapters, 7 pages, to see if you want to read the rest of the book. Fiere's books, Paulo Fiere's books, The Pedagogy of the Oppressed and the Politics of Education, Culture, Power, and Liberation, became the roadmap for what the neo-Marxists call the slow walk through education. James Lindsay's book shines a light on that neo-Marxist pedagogy. I ask you to please choose education over ignorance. Read and find out what this is all about. Then do something about it. It's that important. I thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Brings us down to Superintendent's update, Ms. Feller.
Sure, we have a few things happening. Today, we had a conversation. We're doing the benchmarks for curriculum, and they're starting actually tomorrow. The kids will be benchmarking and all the levels for that middle of the year benchmark. So we'll get you those results as soon as those are done. And I think the middle school and the high schools also, what do we have the window open until the end of the month?
The window for the middle school and high school just the first 2 weeks.
First, okay. So anyway,
She's a little longer to the 26th.
it takes us a while because they're all, most of them are online. Also, we got word before the holidays, I think you heard that we're doing the writing assessment and now it's changing. The kids will actually be writing instead of doing it on the computer. So, which is a good thing. And one of our own here at county office, Stephanie Runyon, has been selected to work with the state. She'll get to see it firsthand on the scoring of that. So it'll be good information for us. She'll work with the state for a week. So they actually asked for my permission to allow her to do that. And so we were pleased. And we'll have her give an update as soon as she gets in and gets the information herself. She's not quite sure what it's all going to be, but it'll give us that inside insight, really, I think, before that test ever happens. And the other thing going on this semester is we're getting in and doing the practice test for the summative assessment. We're hitting those hard so we can get ready for that end of the year assessment. And I don't know that we've really done as much of that. So we're trying to get that consistent across the board. a lot of times with the summative assessment, and it'll be here before you know it. I mean, this is January, May will be here, will be really April, May testing. It comes quickly. There's a lot of times the children know the content. It's the forms of the questions, understanding what they're asking in the questions. So it's really learning to take the test and understand the test and the questions. So I think that's important that we dig in and start doing that as well. So, and I've heard, I'll have an update, probably the first of, maybe next meeting, but we're hearing good things about the implementation of the phonics program. I had a first grade teacher reach out to me, and she said that the gains that she has seen this year compared to last year has been extraordinary. Now, this was her classroom from what she had seen before. So she was very pleased with it. And she said, I was one that was really apprehensive about just kind of going that direction, but they're doing that daily phonics instruction. And of course, we're doing the screeners for dyslexia. And yeah, so I'm excited about that. I think it was a long time coming. Yeah. The other piece is the calendar. I think you guys have had a chance to look at the calendar, and we'll have that on the next agenda for you to really discuss and look at. I wasn't sure we did that before the holidays, whether you had had a chance really to look at those 3 calendars. I think the committee had they were looking at A and B, but there's a C choice on there. So, and if you need copies of that, we can get you that. You still have your copies of the calendar?
And I think we need to follow the guidance of the committee, their recommendations, since,
It was
they
a
were selected
mix,
and they
more
worked
of a
on it.
mix this year on the calendar committee. I think we had some new people. Julie was in there. We had some students in there as well. And then we are looking at, I know there's comments, last year our calendar was kind of unbalanced in the amount of days in the semesters. We kind of knew that when it was adopted. So if you look at those calendar choices, I think they've been evened out a little bit more. There's really not a lot to do with calendars. I mean, once you plug in that, we're kind of sticking with that full week at Thanksgiving and that full week in the spring. Once you plug those in, there's not really a lot of days. I think the big thing is we're adding a day for teacher prep at the beginning, simply because of all the professional development that's required, really from the state level for teachers. And then hopefully, I think they're looking at that during this legislative session to really look to see what all we're requiring of teachers at the beginning. So that's really the main thing. And then 2 days in January when you come back, a day for professional development and then a day for teacher prep, so they can prepare for the students coming back.
This year, there was only one day.
Yeah, we had one
That
day
was
there.
today. Right.
Today really was, we were finishing up semester exams, we had to get our grades in. There was a lot for them to do today, so it was really a teacher prep day. Wasn't much time to do any kind of trainings or PD. So we're thinking that additional day would allow them to come back, prepare for second semester, and then have some training. It's hard for us to get it all in with the training that Jason has to do, and the safety training and all the requirements that we have. So hopefully, if you have a chance before the next meeting, look this calendar's over. And then I think Mr. Lopez has a facilities update.
Well, just real quick, the transportation department bus drivers spent the day or the morning with all the PROs. They came to the training. We discussed the new radio system that we're just implementing beginning tomorrow morning. And we're moving over to the 911 towers. And so that's going to be a big plus in transportation, seamless communication, and a lot of aspects that if there would be an emergency, there's a lot of other channels and ways that we can communicate on a more private basis. So, but we spent a lot of time talking about the new radio system, and it'll reach the far perimeters of the county, where before there were times that we would not be able to communicate case. So again, I thank the board for making that investment, and it's going to make a tremendous benefit to the department. And the other thing is the PRO officers talked to us in depth about a lot of safety issues, safety-related issues on the bus, off the bus, and really did a nice job. Plus, it was a good time for the drivers to be able to meet the PRO officers, kind of see a face and a name. And they were all very comfortable, did a really nice job. A lot of it was open dialogue and answering questions. And we plan to do more of that because bus drivers are the first ones out that see children in the morning. And they are out in our community seeing things that most of the time are good, but, just always be aware of the surroundings. So it was a very, very good day of training. So, and really facility-wise, the things are still going as planned. Not a lot of work. There's some work done to South Harrison Middle. They also installed a new elevator at Victory Elementary. And so it should be fully functional by the end of the week.
Mr. Dennison spoke to me today. They completed the core samples at Simpson. He
Yes.
said that it looks like Nutterport's probably a go, but Simpson, they're doing the core samples, and we'll have those results, he said, in
Right.
not too long.
I don't anticipate a problem
Yeah.
that the ground wasn't filled. I don't anticipate there being a problem there. So I have to have it done. But other than that, that's all I have.
I know this isn't related to facilities, but he mentioned our pro officers. We were invited down, I don't know when you said that, it was prior to the holidays. But we had 3 pro officers, and thanks to Sheriff Matheny, sent them for training. It was a 2-week, it's pretty intensive. For DARE training, we haven't had really DARE officers in our schools for a while. So the pro officers that's currently serving our elementary schools will be visiting, they'll set up a schedule. All of our 5th grades will be participating in DARE. So we were invited down, and the officers are excited. I think we have some good officers involved in that, so I was happy to see that. And that was really the sheriff's department that kind of got that going. Finance, we had Mrs. Connors today visited multiple places, answered questions mainly about the pay changes, the pay date changes, but while she was out, I think you were able to answer other questions about extracurricular contracts, whatever questions they had. And she actually had a timer set, and she just moved to the next building and spent the whole day and got back about, 3:30 today. So hopefully that was productive. I think the staff needs to have her face-to-face so she can answer those questions that you guys have been getting. And then I think you'll finish up on the 12th. Of February. Also in February on that day, that is a faculty senate day, I have been asked to come to some faculty senates to speak about some of the things going on. So I've got that day scheduled pretty much out with the faculties. And then personnel, it's a busy time. She's working today. She started on looking at personnel across the county. That's always a big job. We have the principals in next week for principals meeting, so it's really getting started with the personnel season. That's always, I have to say kudos to the school board for, you guys it's a tough time. If we have transfers or things related to personnel, it's not always easy decisions. Sometimes they're not hard ones, but I always appreciate that. And just another season, go through that and move on from that. So that's really all I have. Like I said, this is a busy time of year. We'll be starting the budget, I'm sure. And before you know it, we're going to be to May, because it just seems like it's going quickly. Thank you.
Okay. Moves us down to consent items. We'll take A and B together. Is there a motion for items A and B of the consent items?
Just lost my place. I will make the motion for consent items A and B to approve.
Been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item C, authorization to purchase new buses. It's before you. That is for Bluebird Sales of West Virginia, 3 77-passenger Bluebird gasoline conventional school buses, $123,783 each, and 3 47 passenger buses, conventional special education school bus, $135,071 each. Total purchase price, $776,562. Is there a motion?
I move that we accept those.
Been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded, and discussion.
Yeah, just a little bit. So we had the electric bus come and do the run, and we determined that it really wasn't very good, right? I mean, not that it wasn't very, no, I don't say it wasn't very good, but that it was, we can meet our requirements.
Well, I think what,
Some technology.
yeah, we did the pilot program and, we saw the pros and the cons. Right now, the cons, for us to purchase one, it's nearly 400,000. And so that's almost 3 times the amount. But we are actively involved in a grant that we're trying to get that would give us 5 electric buses. And we would purchase the charging stations. It's really a long shot if we were to get it. It's very competitive nationwide grant. But it also would increase our fleet value tremendously, which we get a reimbursement. That's how we're able to purchase those buses each year, is because it's based on the fleet value of every county in the state, and what your bus. Then there's a formula, and they come up with an amount, and that would significantly increase. It'd be like us buying, 15, 16 new buses, and add to that fleet value. I think it's going to be something in the future, and when it becomes that is going to be very good. The big thing is the type of charger you have. If you have the DC fast charger, and those are a significant, they cost a significant amount of money, but your buses can be ready to go in a couple hours if they're completely drained. And that's really for all the EV vehicles now. So with the infrastructure improving and getting more locations where there are fast chargers set up, and I see it impacting school transportation in the future. So I don't see anyone really investing in the state and just paying for one bus, which you could get 3 buses right now. So.
I think some counties received already buses from that grant, like that first round.
The first round, in those
Yeah, I think
counties
that's what
were,
you're seeing. There was some counties that showcased some electric buses. That was that first round of the grant.
yeah, and those counties were designated as priority counties. Harrison County was not. So we weren't really eligible to receive a bus. But we're also holding out hope that the state has some buses that perhaps, because we were involved in the pilot and we joined, throughout the state with some other counties to get, to be involved in this grant. We're hoping that maybe we get one of the electric buses that the state has that they're going to give to counties throughout the state. That's what we're hoping.
What's our average age of our fleet?
I would say the average age of the active fleet would be 7 years old. And we were kind of discussing that early. To replenish your fleet, you're getting 6 new buses like this year. And then there are 6 buses at the end of that come to the end of their, being able to be.
For instance, the 6 were replaced with 6 new. How old were they?
Well, those are, and we just auctioned off 8 buses, I believe. They were all 15 years or older. Yeah. So we'll keep some of those after they pass that 13-year mark where we get reimbursed, where they add to your fleet value. After that, they no longer do. We keep those as spare, because you'd be surprised with 93 buses. At any given day, there may be a half a dozen or so buses that there might be just even a minor thing that takes them out of service for a short period of time. The drivers then go into a spare bus, and if we get those repairs done and get them back on the road. So,
Yeah, I was just curious, because I know we can pilot program, where we have, they let us use it for a while. Just, there's both sides of the, argument, whether it's good or bad, but I mean, I'm looking at cost effectiveness is what my thought process is. If it's cost effective over the long haul, I think we should investigate it, but if it's gonna cost one EV bus to 3 gasoline buses.
it's hard for us to justify that in our position. I completely agree with that. But we also did everything we could do to educate ourselves for the future. Who knows? I mean, that opportunity was good. Drivers had a lot of good things. There were some very good things. I think the big thing is the reservation of the how long the battery will last during the day in different areas. Those are big things. And then we did not have, they did with the pilot program, I think it would have been more successful for them, for green power, if they would have had the fast charges so that you could see how quickly they could be charged in between runs. So, but it was good. It was a good experience. It's always good to learn something new. It just like you said, it comes down to dollars and cents. I just don't think it's cost prohibitive at this point. But maybe we'll get some in this grant.
Are the life cycles the same between EV and gasoline buses?
They're supposed to be, but then at the end of the life of the bus, how much, like right now, we have a bus and say it needs some engine repair. We have our own mechanics that they can do a majority of the work. If the batteries go down, you just have to buy a new battery. So at that point, what's the value of the bus going to be? So, and right now, no one knows. I mean, it's an imperfect science right now.
That's equivalent to losing three motors in a sense.
Pretty much.
Whenever it comes down to it, if you lose that battery.
So if everything was equally, the same cost of a regular bus, it would be interesting to, to move in that direction, but just because of the inflation right now.
Probably better wait.
Yeah,
that's fine. Yeah, I just was curious.
Mr. Lopez, I have one question, and I apologize. I came over to ask you earlier, but I got caught up in me reminiscing, so I'll ask you now here for a second. The 47 passenger, and it's a 47, but it says it's 39.
Yeah.
Is there something,
Those are the special needs buses.
okay, I wondered if that's.
So
okay.
you kind of modify those for wheelchair.
Right.
And it takes out so many seats for the lift. And so if they were just seated like a regular conventional bus would be, you could seat 47.
That's what I thought. Thank you.
Anything further? We have the motion second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. No new business, no old business, no policy updates. Personnel matters with personnel agenda addendum in front of you. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the personnel and the personnel agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Board member comments. Mr. Tucker.
Just that we have a great year coming up, and it starts today. With us.
Yesterday.
With us. It starts today.
Mrs. Smith.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Mr. Hope.
Couple things. One, I think we need to let Danny and the two boys that did the back, that put the railing up and everything, that was there to help, keep it from being run into and knocked off the wall and stuff like that there. But they did a great job on it, and it looks, I think it adds to it. And second thing is, I was just wondering if maybe as we're getting ready to go into personnel and budget and other things like that, and things that need to be looked at and cleaned up before summer gets here, if maybe we could have maybe consider having a special meeting to get the ideas of the board members of things that, you know, we think that are, we need to take a look at before we get too far, you know,
Like a work session.
like a work session here, before we get too far to through budget and personnel. I mean, we gotta look at coaching situation, coaches' pays, you know, there's other extracurricular contracts that people doing, and, you know, get an idea of where we're going personnel wise, you know, between now and the end of personnel season, you know, before we have to have our meetings. If, you know, you and Mr. Henry talk about it, and maybe come up with something, you know.
And I think we did last year. We made sure that all board members we had a meeting, that had some input into what we wanted in the
And
budget. So we'll make sure to do that.
I think also that there's a person that's contract's coming up, and I think,
We need to, I mean, we'll put that, we couldn't discuss that till after January 1st, so we'll.
yeah, so throw that in, maybe into that work session, you know.
Okay. Mr. Devon?
I don't have anything to say, thank you.
Don't either. So is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Adjourn.
You didn't give anybody a chance to oppose.
Huh?